Digital transformations are fraught with risk, but one of the big things we need to understand is what is the biggest risk we need to be aware of. I want to ask a bunch of industry experts to find out their thoughts on the biggest risks they face when going through digital transformation. My name is Eric Kimberling. I'm the CEO of Third Stage Consulting. We're an independent consulting firm that helps clients throughout the world reach the third stage of digital transformation success. And one of the biggest things we do when we're helping our clients through their transformations is we help them manage risk. We help them identify and mitigate risks that are happening throughout their digital transformations. So what I want to do today is talk to some experts and find out their thoughts on what makes the biggest risks and what constitutes the biggest risk for a digital transformation. So I'm going to jump into this conference. It's our Digital Stratosphere conference that we host each year. And I'm going to ask a bunch of these experts what they think the number one risk in a digital transformation is. Let's go. So Kristen, are you nervous to be on camera?
No.
Okay, good, because you're on camera. So I've got a question for you. What do you see as the biggest risk in digital transformation?
I think the biggest risk is executives, for whatever dynamics, right? Whether it's a shareholders meeting or PR or whatnot, including a digital transformation as one of the things just to do as a checkbox. And I really do believe executive sponsorship all the way down to the nth degree is critical. That is the biggest risk, because so often do a digital transformation project. What is a digital transformation project? It just ends up in this quagmire because it just looks as a checkbox to tick to say I'm modern, I'm current, buy from us or buy us, when in fact they really need to put their money where their mouth is and walk their talk all the way down to the nth degree.
Right. So Jordy, what do you see as the biggest risk in any sort of digital transformation?
I would say letting the technology drive your project or your selection rather than letting your processes and your people drive which technology you're going to choose. Making sure that the technology fits your processes and not vice versa.
Great. So Becky, what do you see as the biggest risk in a digital transformation?
It's not having the executives align and the people in the right places and the experienced people actually participating in the project, not backfilling them. So the resources need to really there has to be a commitment with the organization to have those resources in place to execute the digital transformation.
So Mitch, what do you see as the biggest risk to a digital transformation?
So I think one of the biggest risks is not adequately sizing up your change management and what needs to happen in order to make a transformation happen. Understanding that there's a people aspect of things, it's not just picking and implementing a technology.
Right, great. So Carrie, what do you see as the biggest risk to any digital transformation?
I think one of the biggest risks, and I think this is really important when you're working with a vendor, is around cybersecurity. Because as you're going digital, obviously that means a lot of your data is going to be involved. So it's very important to choose a vendor who understands cybersecurity, who designs security into their solutions, who always take cybersecurity into account when they're working with your data, protecting your data, communicating with the rest of your organization about how important it is to safeguard your data. So I really think security is one of the biggest risks, and it can also be mitigated by choosing a partner you trust, by creating many layers of protection within the organization, within your digital application that you're choosing to bring onto your environment. So I'd have to choose security as a big risk, but it can be solved for.
Right, and that's something people weren't really thinking about 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It's a big deal now. Yeah. Great, thank you. So Dominic, what do you see as the biggest risk in a digital transformation?
Biggest risk for me is not planning, not preparing properly, not having that sort of business model and strategic sort of aims, ahead of starting. Doing your phase zero, preparing before the SI gets in. I think that's the biggest risk. People just don't prepare properly.
Okay. So Ro, what do you see as the biggest risk in a digital transformation?
Not be able to implement the system as designed.
Yeah.
Not be able to get reports out the system. A lot of things could be at risk. The system is not working to give you the information.
Can't run your business.
That's correct. Can't pay people, can't make payroll. Big risk.
Okay, great, thank you. So Emma, what do you think the biggest risk to any digital transformation is?
I think the biggest risk is actually a false start. And so not planning through the people and process side associated with transformation enough to make sure that you get the user adoption and the follow through that you're hoping for. And that constant start and stop or false start process really erodes at like the trust and the confidence that your team has that you're actually going to be able to deliver someday. And that's, I think, where we get a lot of resistance or friction when it comes to actually managing the change.
Okay, great. So Marcus, what do you see as the number one biggest risk that most digital transformation teams face?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. And for me, when I look at this, I think not paying enough attention to what your business requirements are, to what you need to get out of that software product, and then failing to detail that with enough specificity in the contractual documents that you're negotiating and ultimately put in place with the vendor.
So Amanda, what do you think the number one risk to a digital transformation generally is?
I would say lack of alignment.
And why is that?
I have seen it cause problems in many, many projects. And sometimes people agree to the alignment in the beginning and they weren't really in alignment. And so making sure throughout that you're continuing to check, are we all still on the same page? Do we still think about whatever this is,
Right.
what we did 3 months ago? And making sure that the executive alignment and all of the leadership is on the same page. Otherwise people will start putting their opinions or maybe getting back into their silos and that kind of thing. So I think that's a really risky thing, because if you're not all on the same page, you are not going to have the outcome that is the collective agreed upon, strategy.
Right. So Mehdi, what do you see as the biggest risk in a digital transformation?
The biggest risk would be I would go with change management and the adoption of the technology with the users and key users, and how they are going to use the software in the long term. Training is a big key factor in that. Change management in general is something that you have to be aware of and spend money and invest on early on from the process, within the process.
So now that you've heard from the experts, I want to hear from you. What do you think? What are your answers to these questions? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And for more information about digital transformation best practices, I encourage you to download our 2024 Digital Transformation Report. It's a report we publish each year. You can find that on our website by scanning the QR code or going to the links below. So I hope you found this information useful and hope you have a great day.
You come on in and can I just restart that? I was like,
Oh, go ahead.
That's it.
Oh, wait, cut.
So Mitch, what do you want to wait?
I might need a sec to formulate my answer.
Because I'm weird anyways, but looking straight on camera is really weird. Okay.